You want breakfast, right? Here's one.
Hi.
You wanted breakfast, didn't you? That was Officer Turner's idea of finest service, and the room went from loud chatter to dead silence as the food slid Tanisha Harris's hair and soaked into her fresh navy blue uniform. But before anyone could blink, something far deeper than humiliation settled in that room, because the woman they thought they were breaking had walked into this precinct with a secret that could end careers. A week earlier, during night orientation, Tanisha watched an officer quietly shove a rookie into a locker while the others laughed like it was a sport. The rookie's face had gone stiff, eyes glassy with embarrassment, but he said nothing. And that silence, it stuck with her like a bruise that hadn't yet risen to the surface. That moment told her everything she needed to know about this place and exactly what she'd be dealing with. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe to Silent Divide Tales because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Tanisha Harris, 29, had dreamed of wearing the badge since she was little. Justice, fairness, courage, all that good stuff. She walked into the precinct holding her cafeteria tray, doing her best to smile politely, but the stares that followed her made the room feel colder than the tile floors. She was the only black woman in the new intake group, something the whispers made sure she never forgot. The other recruits grouped together instantly, trading jokes and stories like they'd known one another for years. She tried to join in. Hello, a simple smile, but their responses were clipped, stiff, like she'd interrupted a family dinner. And then Officer Turner walked in. The air shifted. Conversations died. Chairs squeaked back into place. Turner scanned the room until her eyes locked onto Tanisha, and that slow smirk told Tanisha exactly what kind of day this would be. She didn't know it yet, but Turner had just picked the worst possible target and the most dangerous one. The next few days blurred into a messy collage of roll calls, patrol assignments, and enough side-eye to power the whole precinct. For Tanisha, every hallway felt like it was booby-trapped with invisible tripwires. One wrong step and someone would twist it into a rookie mistake. She kept her tone respectful, her posture perfect, and her temper locked away. But somehow, the calmer she stayed, the more Officer Turner pushed. Turner started small, ignoring Tanisha's reports, interrupting her mid-sentence, questioning her decisions in front of everyone like she was hosting a live comedy roast. And, of course, the audience always laughed a little too hard. Why? Because bullying from a white officer apparently counted as entertainment. But then things shifted darker. In the locker room, Tanisha heard it. She's just a diversity hire. Bet she won't last a week. She looks too polished for real work. That last comment stung, not because it was true, but because it was so predictable. You ever notice how racists think professionalism is suspicious? But then it got worse. Turner accidentally spilled coffee near Tanisha's bag and smirked. Oops. Rookie mistake. You'll learn. The officers chuckled nervously like they weren't sure if they were supposed to laugh or run. Tanisha swallowed the burn in her chest. She needed evidence, not attitude. And here's the twist. Nobody in that precinct saw coming. Tanisha wasn't just a fresh recruit. She was deep undercover, sent by the Bureau to investigate discrimination and misconduct. Her real badge sat tucked inside the inner pocket of her jacket, close enough to reach but dangerous enough to reveal too soon. Can you imagine the shock if they knew? But then Turner gave her the perfect setup. The precinct buzzed one afternoon about a community outreach event. The cafeteria was stuffed with loud chatter, trays clattering, officers joking like they weren't simmering with hostility beneath the surface. Tanisha found a quiet corner table, unwrapped her sandwich, and just when she thought she could breathe, "Hey, rookie," Turner shouted across the room. "You too good to sit with the rest of us?" The room went still. The stage was set, and Turner was about to push the harassment from annoying to career-ending. Turner didn't wait for Tanisha to answer. She strutted across the cafeteria like she owned the building, scooped up a plate of pasta drenched in sauce, and wore a grin that practically screamed, "Watch this, everybody." Tanisha kept her eyes on her sandwich, pretending not to notice, but Turner wanted an audience. "Oh, look at that. Ma'am," Turner mocked loudly. "So proper. Think she's special, huh?" A few officers snickered. the kind of snicker people use when they're scared to be the next target. Tanisha breathed calmly, but her jaw tightened. She wasn't afraid. She was calculating. Why do bullies think silence means weakness? But then, Turner decided to get bold. Here's your welcome, sweetheart. Cold pasta and sauce slapped onto Tanisha's hair, sliding down her uniform like a slow insult. The entire room froze. For a split second, no one even blinked. The laughter that followed wasn't cruel, just uncomfortable, shaky, like everyone suddenly realized they were watching a line being crossed. Tanisha didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't give Turner the satisfaction of a reaction. She sat perfectly still while the sauce ran down her face, her expression calm enough to make the room uneasy. Turner expected anger, maybe tears, maybe a meltdown. Instead, she got stillness so sharp it made her swallow. That silence? It was louder than any scream. Tanisha slowly rose, her chair scraping against the tile with a sound that sliced through the air. She dabbed her face with a napkin, met Turner's eyes, and said, steady as steel, "Officer Turner, you just made a huge mistake." A ripple went through the crowd. Shock, confusion, something close to fear. What mistake? Why did she sound so calm? If Turner had even half a brain cell, she would have recognized that tone. But then, Tanisha reached inside her jacket. Not the outer pocket, not the visible badge spot. No, the inner pocket. She pulled out a leather case, popped it open, and held it up so the cafeteria lights hit the gold letters perfectly. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Turner's smirk evaporated instantly. Her knees wobbled, her face drained of color. Just like that, the predator became the prey. When Turner collapsed, the cafeteria erupted into chaos. Chairs scraped, officers scrambled, voices overlapped, trays clattered onto the floor. But Tanisha, she didn't move an inch. She stood firm, badge still raised, looking almost carved from stone. The woman who had drenched her in food now lay trembling on the floor, undone not by a fight, but by her own arrogance. Isn't it wild how fast a bully shrinks when the mask slips? But now, things were about to unwind even faster. The precinct captain rushed in with confusion stamped all over his face. One look at Turner on the ground, another at Tanisha holding up a federal badge, and his entire expression shifted. Shock first, then embarrassment, then the heavy realization that this wasn't just a bad moment, it was a scandal waiting to explode. Tanisha handed him her credentials, calm as ever. No anger, no ego, just facts. And those facts spread through the precinct like wildfire. Every whispered insult, every rookie joke, every snide comment, none of it could be defended now. And thanks to the cafeteria cameras, there was video proof of Turner dumping food on her. What defense could they even try? But then, the fallout began. Turner was suspended within 24 hours. Internal reviews hit the department like a tidal wave. Sensitivity training, mandatory. Record checks, immediate. Suddenly, everyone who had laughed a little too hard started looking very small in their own uniforms. But for Tanisha, the victory wasn't sweet. It felt heavy. She kept thinking, how many people went through this without a federal badge to protect them? How many quit long before anyone cared to ask why? This wasn't revenge. It was a reminder of the quiet battles people fight alone. When her assignment wrapped, Tanisha packed her things and headed toward the exit. She paused at the door, turning back only once. Not out of regret, but out of resolve. Some battles aren't loud. Some battles don't make headlines. Some battles happen in silence, in systems, in hearts. And sometimes justice is simply someone refusing to break. As she stepped into the sunlight, she whispered, not as an agent, but as a woman who'd seen too much, "This is why we keep pushing." If this story hit you, make sure you're subscribed to Silent Divide Tales. More powerful stories drop soon, and trust me, you'll want to be here when the next truth comes out.